Hi, and welcome to The Bottom Line. I'm Pastor Paul Steele from Bethlehem Church in Austin, Minnesota. Now, The Bottom Line is our weekly summary of the previous Sunday's sermon. And we've been in this sermon series entitled Asking for a Friend as we seek to answer questions about God, the Bible, what it means to follow Jesus. And this past Sunday, we looked at the first of two questions that are really culturally controversial. And the question we looked at on Sunday is, how should Christians think through the trans conversation? Now, I'm not an expert, and there's only so much that you can say in a 35-minute sermon. But I began by laying a foundation as we who follow Jesus should remember as we enter into these difficult, controversial conversations. And because we want to represent Jesus well, that's what we are called to do. We are called to be the ambassadors of Christ. And so we want to represent him well. So how do we do it within this conversation? Well, first, we want to stay true to what the Bible says and what the Bible talks about. Not that it addresses our modern questions of gender, specifically, but it does give us wisdom that we can build on. And one of the things that we see is that every time the Bible talks about gender, it prohibits going across genders. So example, Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 5, where it prohibits cross-dressing, women dressing like men and men dressing like women. It's also the second part of this foundation as we seek to represent Jesus well is that we need to remember that our fight isn't against individuals, or how the Apostle Paul says it in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12, that our fight isn't against flesh and blood, but it's against these spiritual powers that are influencing our world, influencing our culture. And so what we want to do is that we want to answer and debate the questions and the thoughts and the ideas and the philosophies that are given. And we don't want to make accusations or demean the people. We want to focus on the ideas. That's what we are called to do. And the third way that we make sure that we represent Jesus well in these types of conversations is that we love individuals. In Luke chapter 10, verses 33 through 37, this is the last part of Jesus's parable of the Good Samaritan. And what Jesus says is, then a despised Samaritan comes along, and he helps the Jewish man who was beaten up and left for dead. And when we enter into these conversations and we enter in on the opposite side of where our culture is, that's going to make us despised. We're not going to be liked. But on the other hand, we have to have this commitment that regardless of other people's treatment of us, regardless of other people's thoughts about us and acceptance of us, that we're going to love. That when we see somebody in need, we're going to help them because they are people created in God's image who are worthy of our respect, and they're worthy of dignity. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a commitment to love people. Our big idea from Sunday is this: Christians are to enter into the trans conversation with love and truth. We are to enter into it with love and truth. We want to respect and give dignity to people. We don't want to demean them. We want to help them. We want to assure them that we're going to be there when they have a need. And we want to do it in a way that is truthful, in a way that honors the Bible, in a way that accurately represents the ideas of everyone. We're not dismissing people. We're not dismissing ideas. We're not misrepresenting them. We want to do it in a spirit of truth. And our challenge this week is to pray to pray for the trans people that we know that are in our lives, because that's our biggest area of impact. We want to pray for trans influencers who are out there, and that they may come to know Jesus and his love. And we want to pray for our policymakers, because there are decisions that are being made that affect real people. And so we want God's wisdom to be with those who are making the laws and the policies that govern our nation and our state. So thanks for joining us. Thank you for being part of Bethlehem, even if it's only online. And remember, you can join us at 10:30 on Sunday mornings here in Austin, Minnesota, next to Ellis Middle School, or on Facebook and YouTube. And if there's something that you'd like me to be praying about, let me know. I'd be glad to add you to my list. And the best way to join in the ministry that we are doing here in Austin is to give. So you can go to our website, BethlehemChurchAustin.com, and follow the Give tab. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and God bless.